Prince Harry truly cut off Our Gracious Majesty the Queen, and more importantly, why and how? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Nice to see you today. Hope you're all keeping well. And as I say, listen, just going to let you know, it's calmed down a little bit weather-wise, but apparently it's all coming back. I know you're all fascinated, as we all are, by the weather. And I know that a lady wrote to me the other day saying, Neil, it's X amount of degrees below over here, and I'm snuggling up in a bed, watching you late at night, freezing. It's hard to believe that now, isn't it? When you're in the middle of winter or middle of summer and you look back at the days and think, I can't believe it was ever like that. Well, it's still really humid over here, but a lot of people are saying, Neil, take off your jacket. Couldn't possibly, wouldn't dream, of course, of entering your abode without dressing at least respectable, as I'm sure you all are watching me. You are, right? I can see you, you know. Big wave to one and all brand new subscribers as ever, and thank you so much as ever for joining the channel. I hope you enjoy yourself. Back now, of course, to your breaking roll story of the day. This particular story really is quite alarming because two things really I have to point out. There was a story breaking earlier this week about how our wonderful monarch, Our Gracious Majesty the Queen, one royal commentator pointed out that the Queen in fact spent many a time popping over to see the newlyweds, Harry and Meghan, when they were living out at Frogmore Cottage, and you know, she was very concerned about them, wanted to make sure they were settled in, and was concerned really about how they didn't feel wanted, loved, all the usual stuff, you know. Totally untrue, simply because at that point, as one can imagine, our gracious monarch was battling through a lot of problems of her own, including the ongoing illnesses of His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. So quite where she fitted all of this in alongside the other duties as a reigning monarch remains to be seen. But these stories are kind of good, aren't they, in the sense of that, you know, it sort of paints a different picture. The bigger story on this side of the sort of equation really is this, though, because as we now know, and it's an interesting debate this, because it has been confirmed to me that this is 100% true. The former royal known as Prince Harry did in fact, without warning, change his telephone number. And that really made it very difficult for all senior members of the British monarchy, including our gracious monarch, to make contact with him. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, why would he do that? Well, it's two things really. Perhaps he did it in a huff, perhaps he had his phone stolen, or he simply just wanted to realign his life. You know, that sort of thing where you draw a line underneath and think, I only want X amount of people now to contact me. And as ever, we have to say allegedly. So this made it very difficult for the monarch, as I say, to reach out to Prince Harry, even if she'd have wanted to. So the only way that to be able to do that was, of course, really to go through private secretaries and, you know, sort of send messages via that way. As we know, sadly for Prince Harry, he learned of the sad demise of the Duke of Edinburgh by a policeman knocking on his door at, I believe 3 a.m. in the morning. So, you know, you can see just how difficult it was for people to make contact with him. So once again, the stories and the verifications of, well, my family cut me off. Now, we don't know whose instruction he decided to change his phone number, or indeed his phone. We can only surmise. But then that would have made it incredibly difficult for people to make contact with him moving forward. So once again, you know, there's mystery and intrigue surrounding, but according to a very good source over here, what I can tell you is that yes, they did try their very best, but they were as stunned as many people when they suddenly found themselves cut off, astray, and unable to make contact with a very much and once loved member of the senior monarchy. This story just rolls on, but it just makes it incredibly difficult, doesn't it, for those people over here on this side of the pond that truly did think a very much and a lot of Prince Harry. For Her Majesty the Queen, one could only surmise at this particular age she must have thought that she was going to be winding down from all of those problems. Seemingly not. As ever, when I know more, you'll know more. Neil Sean, Kensington, London.